All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Hearthcenter. I am not Lotus Knight. Unfortunately, for all of you, you have to deal with me. I'm Dr. Fish. I'll be your op for tonight. I will just be pretty much directing these four guys as to kind of what to do, and I'm going to let them take the show away. So starting off in the top left of the screen, we have Super Chicken. Welcome back. It's always good to see you.
Thanks. Yeah, took a bit of a break, but yeah, it's good to be back.
For sure. And then on to his bottom left, we have none other than my former Tavern Talk host, Geranium Battle. Hello, how are you doing, sir? It's been a minute.
Thanks. Yeah, took a bit of a break, but glad to be back.
Well, since you and I have done a show.
No one I hate more than Max.
I don't know. Could it be? I don't know. We're gonna go to our bottom right. He's making. I don't know if this is your first time on Hearthcenter, but you are certainly certainly haven't been on this season. Making his season debut, we have Turtle. Hello, how are you doing?
Yeah, I think I've been on once a while ago, but definitely not recently, so I don't really know what's going on, but it'll be fun.
Oh yeah. And then our final host is my legacy captain and one of my hero players, and captain of the top team in Pink Conference in Pro. We have Nice Jewish Owl. Hello, how are you?
Hello. I think this is my first official time on Hearthcenter this season.
Yes, then that would definitely end up being the case. Yeah, welcome everyone. And we're going to start the show as we always do. We're going to talk about the players of the week. And so first off, we're going to start in the hero series. I will let Super Chicken read out our hero player of the week.
All right, yeah, our hero player of the week is Yoxter. With the Unknown down 0-8 to start their week, they were able to claw back to a 2-2 match record with Always Ping Mage.
No,
and Yoxter
yeah.
Oh, sorry, what's up?
It's Awake Past Midnight. I put the wrong team.
Oh, sorry, yeah, the other APM in Hero, Awake Past Midnight. And Yoxter completed the reverse match sweep with a 3-1 win over Geranium Battle on Sunday for the week win. So congrats to Yoxter.
Yeah, if you want to watch that was on stream. Super crazy match. So.
For sure. All right. I don't quite know of the order of how this is all supposed to go, but we will go and talk about our legacy. We'll go to our legacy player of the week next. So Geranium Battle, would you go ahead and talk about our legacy player of the week?
Of course. For legacy this week, the player of the week is Plants. Plants was struggling to find a home on Dumbledore's army, shifting between the top 3 seeds many times this season. However, there was never a better time to find a groove than in Game 5 over Vino Spumoni, getting the Wizards to a close 14-13 win over the dominant IDK and bringing them back to just 2 points out of playoffs. Here's hoping they can work their magic again and that they never hear that ticking sound.
Well, thank you for that write-up, Geranium. I do know that you were the one who did that write-up. So next we're gonna go to our Pro EU Player of the Week, and Owl, would you mind reading out our EU Pro Player of the Week?
Sure. The EU Pro Player of the Week is Gay Pirate. Gay Pirate took the biggest win in his team's Nailbiter win last week, and did it with Doomhammer Shaman. And the 14-13 win keeps Team Enigma's hopes and dreams alive. Just 3 more weeks to play for EU before playoffs, and this win was critical for Team Enigma.
Yeah, indeed. Congratulations on helping your team get that solid week win. And finally, for our Pro Player of the Week, our NA Pro Player of the Week, the Turtle, would you go ahead and read out who won Player of the Week?
Yeah, this week's Player of the Week for Pro is going to be Dardar Banks. Facing the number 1 team in the Pink Series, Swagawai needed some big wins from its players. Edelweiss was one of
I
those players.
think that's the write-up from last week when I lost to
Yeah, this-
Edelweiss and Pro.
I'm reading this and
Okay,
this does
guys.
not seem like it's
Turtle,
talking about
Turtle,
Darnold.
improv it.
Darnold
Surely,
Banks,
surely you know what
You
happened.
know what? I
with
should
this
have. You
matchup.
know what?
I
I
know
should have
that
had
he did-
Chicken talk about it.
Darnold
Okay.
did a lot of winning. Chicken, fill him in.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of had well, I mean, For the Boys had a pretty slow start to the season, starting off 0-2. But yeah, we've been kind of cooking with gas ever since, and yeah, kept our winning ways going this week. Darian was a huge part of that. He got his first win of the season, and yeah, gave us a big win to give us 23 points on the week and move us up into second place in Black Conference, I believe.
Well, yes, thank you for informing us about Darnell Banks' week. So yeah, we'll hopefully get a good write-up there for our boy Darnell Banks, and congratulations to every player here who got their who has been given the Player of the Week award for week 6. So yeah, why don't we move on to our first series, which is Hero Series. So I don't have a great format for this, but why don't we start with looking at the standings? So starting with Teal Conference. Al, why don't you tell me a little bit about what Teal Conference looks like?
Yeah, sure thing. Teal Conference right now is sitting with F2L Black or F2L Black and Extraterrestrials tied for the top spot, both at 104 points, and each of them 5-1. Close behind is Barnes at 101 points, although that's with a few from the current week, it looks like. And then trailing pretty far behind is the next one in At Least I Don't Have Chicken with 89 points. Always Ping Mage with 84, and then Dad Legend pretty squarely at the bottom with 61.
Yep. So
for
for
going
this
into playoffs,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. So I will say for this week, ET probably should. I will say that like it was a toss up in my head between ET and F2L being the teams obviously on there. Usually we would show Extraterrestrials, but I couldn't pass up the chance to have both F2L teams up at the top. So you can blame me for that, people on ET. But they are technically ahead. They would technically be shown for their AOS having a super hard schedule at this point, essentially, and being 5-1. So, I guess since we had a person from Purple talk about Teal, I'll have a person from Teal talk about Purple. Chicken. We know. Yeah, Chicken, I believe you're there. Tell me about Purple Conference.
Yeah, so Purple, a bit of a tighter race near the top. And first we have F2L Obsidian at 91 points, then Teenage Mighty Ninja Squirrels at 89, then Awake Past Midnight at 85, The Unknown at 83, No Pros Here at 69 points, and The Leash I Was a Baller down at the bottom at 65.
All right. Yeah.
Purple Conference is just about tied. I mean, like, literally, difference between Awake Past Midnight and Teenage Mighty Ninja Squirrels is the 1 week win that they have. Like, it's crazy tight in Purple.
Yeah, I think important to note though that APM and The Unknown are currently not in playoff spots. So I believe it's the top 2 teams from each
top
conference,
2 and then
2 wild cards. So Barnes and at least. Oh, actually, I'm not sure what the tie would be between. Oh, sorry, F2L Obsidian would be in a playoffs. Or sorry, oh no, APM is not though. Yeah. So yeah, the 3rd and 4th place teams from Teal are right now. So yeah, kind of the lower point totals from Purple are hurting them a bit right now.
Yeah.
I thought it was just top 3 from each conference. This is now where we.
Is it? We'll check the. It's 14 teams, right?
Yeah, no, I did look at the
14
the
teams
rules,
is how
like-
Wild has been like that for the last
No,
couple
this
of
is 12
seasons.
teams.
This is 12.
12
But
teams.
yeah,
Oh.
I did look at the rules recently, and yeah, it is actually the case. It does seem a bit weird that like
Mhm.
it's not just top 3 from each
Mhm.
conference, but I mean, you do get it does kind of make sense. Like you do have a lot of crossover, and you do get conference sometimes
Yeah.
that are pretty stacked to one side,
So-
as it does appear that that Teal is, right. Like
Yeah, points wise, anyways.
they do seem to be winning a lot of the crossover matches.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the interesting part about it is, I think the thing is that because it's 12 teams and we're used to like having a grueling 12, 11 week season with just top X teams making playoffs. I really like this format. By the way, this is our second. There's only 2 more weeks of Hero left from here before playoffs, so the race is going to be heating up. So I'm sure that in the next few weeks we'll have playoff talk. But why don't we get into our matches? I'm gonna ask Turtle to tell us about Teenage Mighty Ninja Squirtles versus No Pros Here.
Yeah, it was pretty close race. Started off pretty early with Super Uncles getting swept, like what's been happening the most recent couple of weeks. So that was started off rough for our team. And then I believe Mighty also played second. So then No Pros Here started up 2-0 on us. So then it was up to me, Wild9, and Pokemon to win out from there, and that is exactly what we did, just barely getting that win over No Pros Here, putting us just below Actual Obsidian. So still pretty nicely in there to make playoffs.
Awesome. Does anyone have any more comments on this match, or do you want to just go ahead and move on?
I want to know how much Turtle paid Agent PWE to throw to him. Because ain't no way Agent PWE is losing to Turtle.
No, if this were Conquest, sure, but in Hero, I've got him every day of the week.
I want to know why Mighty is in the 3 seed and 2 and 4.
I don't know. He's definitely
it's
struggling.
What's going on there?
It all started with BOMD.
Yeah, like World's
No.
Contender
He's about to be in the
Mighty.
4 seed.
It's actually insane.
Wait
Pokemon
a
might
second.
actually move up.
Could Mighty end the season in the 4 seed? That would be funny.
That would be
wait,
funny.
Just wait, Super Buckle's
It's
gonna
really
pass
close.
him, trust me.
Yeah, I
He's
mean, I could
only,
see
like,
Diamond.
negative 100 PR.
I mean, I can see Diamond's point. Like, if he's focusing on one series more than another, then he might struggle in the one he's not focusing on.
Yeah, for sure. Also, Hero is a lot different.
Hero
than
is
Conquest,
so
which
much
is
different.
What Mighty's used to.
Yeah.
I would also like to note that every single one of those 4 matches Mighty has lost, he's lost 2 to 3.
Yeah, it's been like 2 to 3. Yeah.
So
he's
gotten
putting
maximum
points up. He's
possible.
just not getting that 5th game win.
Putting up numbers.
Yeah. And helping his team, honestly. If you're getting 2 points in a loss, it helps your team a lot still. So, but yeah, let's move on to our next match. So let's see. So I guess this is Geranium's turn. I feel bad making Geranium talk about his own match. But we have Awake Past Midnight versus The Unknown.
Yeah, I mean, this was a crazy start. Looking at the first day that any results came out in Hero this past week, literally every single result was a 3-0. It was a 3-0 from Pokemon over Bassoon Buffoon. It was a 3-0 from German Shep over Chuli, a 3-0 from Laughing Frog over 2-Star Mako. Like, everyone in Teal Conference was just 3-0ing and making it minimum points possible. And then came the following days, where the Unknown clawed their way back into a contentious position, leading to the on-stream me versus Yachtster extravaganza, where there's a reason why Yachtster got Player of the Week, and it's for getting the Unknown back into contention and getting them this week win.
Yeah. All right. Owl, anything to add on this one?
I mean, I think it's sort of a bit indicative of the current meta that we're seeing a whole bunch of sweeps, because there's a lot of decks that have a good bit of high roll potential even in their unfavorables, and it's hard to really effectively counter. some of the best decks right now, like Charge Warrior and various Paladins.
Mm-hmm. I think like players who played before. Wait, yeah, people. There was an early playing last week, right? For nerfs.
No, the patch went out the entire week of last week. I
Never
believe.
mind. Then there's just a lot of sweeps going on. You're right. I see a lot of close matches around the board, but I also see like matches like Discord sweep. Like you had, like especially in Hero. Hero's a very interesting format for when the meta is sweep heavy. It's not always very fun. But we have one more match to talk about, and I'll go ahead and run through it quickly. We have F2L Black versus At Least I Don't Have Chicken. So in the 1 seed, we have Rabobson. We got a 3-2 win over Neji Boston, taking out his former 1 seed in a 5-game set. Probably an absolute banger, to be honest. In the 2 seed, Itachi taking a 3-1 over Chicken. Sure, Chicken doesn't want to relive that again. Let's see. In the 3 seed, looks like Dragon Rider came in and subbed for Ridiculous Hat and got lost 2-3 to C-Mac. Then in the 4 seed, Jess on a roll, 5-1 this season, takes a 3-2 over Skirt Reynolds, who is kind of uncharacteristically struggling this season. And then finally, Totino's in the 5 seed, taking a 3-1 loss to You Kitten Me, who continues their rise up the PR ladder. They're playing very well.
Skirt may be uncharacteristically struggling, but he's also uncharacteristically in the 4 seed.
True.
Yeah, he's also playing against Jessbean in the 4 seed.
Yeah.
Jessbean's been in the 4 seed like literally
every season. Yeah, he's been in there since he's been a Hero 4 seed since he like
373 PR 4 seed. That seems pretty high.
I don't know. I had Owl as a 4 seed a few seasons ago. That felt pretty broken too.
Well,
Owl was Owl. You were like 360, 360 PR with me as a 50 PR 5 seed.
Don't worry. On my team, Jessbean was having a losing record in the 4 seed.
He's definitely having a big turnaround season. Like obviously F2L Black with their current
I think it's a captain diff.
Captain.
No shot.
This is true.
Lee Bobson will submit non-rogue classes for Jessbean.
All right. So that's all we have for Hero this week. So let's go ahead and switch over to Legacy, where we'll start in the Gold Conference. All right. Shoutouts to Jay Huang in the chat.
I guess I'll see what you in the chat.
All right.
He might be banned from competitive play, but at least you can still watch THL live streams.
True.
This is so true.
For sure. So continuing on, we have the standings for Gold Conference. Geradian, why don't you go ahead and talk to me about Gold Conference?
Of course. So in Gold Conference, at the very top, with a still undefeated record, we have Blue Naga Cult at 115. Then F2L White, who was undefeated going into last week, now at 100 points. Fish Eternum is close behind them at 96. Pod People at 85. Hot Zilfs just barely out of playoffs right now at 84. Colossal Misplace at 80. Hoot Me Dude at 75, and then the Stubbs leading up the back at 69 points.
Man.
Nice.
Well, unfortunately, the Stubbs sitting in last place, but fortunately, they have a very nice amount of points. But yeah, there's definitely there's gonna be a really interesting battle for the final spot in Gold Conference. If Hoot Me Dude can put up a big week, they potentially have the chance to sneak in. But that would depend on the other teams also kind of stumbling this week. So I don't know if that's going to necessarily happen, but Colossal Zilfs Pod People, pretty solid position to battle for the last spot.
Still a few weeks left. We've
Yeah.
got 3 weeks left of Legacy. So.
Yeah, sorry, we do have a bunch of weeks left. No, we have this week and next week, I'm pretty sure.
Isn't it 9 weeks?
Yeah.
Is it 9? Did I miss a week on my schedule?
We got cross conference week 7, and then week 8, week 9.
Okay, thank you. Cool. Yeah. No, this is week 7.
Yeah, this is the cross conference.
Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm so troll right here. But anyways, we'll move on to our matches. So I guess we'll look at the reason why F2L White is no longer undefeated. So, let's see. Chicken, why don't you go ahead and run us through Hot Zilfs versus F2L White?
Yeah, pretty dominant win for Hot Zilfs against one of the top teams in their conference. F2L White was kind of looking to contest for that number 1 spot against Blue Naga Cult, but yeah, their loss here really sets them back a decent bit. Yeah, it looks like Rebobson the only one on F2L that got a win this week, a 3-1 over Coles, who's been struggling a decent bit this season. But the rest of the Zilfs, they got wins for their team and got their team 20 points, which moves them right within striking distance of a playoff spot in Gold Conference. And yeah, it looks like, Astral Frog, Chronic, and Lefty have kind of been carrying this team for most of the season from what it seems like, at least from their records. Yeah, and especially congrats to Astral Frog getting a win against Myanodon, who is playing in the 3 seed. I didn't know Myanodon played in the 3 seed.
Myanodon doesn't usually play in the 3.
But yeah, that's a pretty impressive
It's
win.
an impressive one for sure. But Astro's also played Astro's like a 2 seed type of player. He's just had his lumps for the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, with these with these long seasons, and plus like going between seasons, players do tend to have ups and downs pretty often. So not uncommon to see stuff like this.
For sure. Any other insights on this match before we go on to our second match?
Donde, despite the fact that he has a losing record, just ended the streak for Slod here in the 2. That's pretty impressive. And then, Astrofog, in previous seasons, you usually find him on teams where there's just a clump of players that all have about the same PR. So he moves up and down a lot. He's going to be used to this.
For sure. Right. So why don't we move on to our next match? Turtle, why don't you tell me about Fish Eternum versus the Pod People?
Yeah, sure. Fish Tournament Pod People, both right up there. Right now, 3 and 4 in their division. So this was a pretty important match for the overall standings. Looking like Corvette subbed in the 1 seed for Pod People, but lost to Yo Daddy. And then 2 seed Zancat versus Starlax. Starlax took that away with a sweep. An amazing season right now, 5-1. Took another win in the 3. And then Dragon Rider versus Two Fly and Swaybe versus Laughing Frog, both going over to Fish Eternum to get a pretty needed win this week for them to stay at that nice top 3 of their conference spot.
Yeah, for sure. Right. Anyone else want to say something about this match before we move on to Red Conference? Okay, let's move on to Red Conference, where things seem a lot less. Things seem quite a bit closer. Let's see. I'm forgetting to keep track of who I've asked to do things, so I'll have Chicken tell me about the. Since this is the conference your team is in, tell me about Red Conference.
Yeah, had HSA take down APM in Legacy.
Yeah.
And yeah, another team that was looking for the top spot in their conference got kind of blown out by a team lower than them in the standings again. But yeah, pretty. I mean, it is really, really impressive stuff by HSA here, who's kind of been, like a bit of a middling team this season. But yeah, like APM was in first for the past couple of weeks after they beat my team at a certain point in the season. They've been in first ever since. But yeah, this sets them back to second, still in a pretty comfortable spot in Red Conference. But yeah, we'll need to watch out a little bit. I mean, the Justins and Defias are kind of right behind them, and now this kind of puts HSA within a playoff spot as well, if they're able to win their next couple of weeks.
For sure, and if they actually get to play the team above them in these next couple of weeks, then that could really help their case. With 4 Justins, 1 Sustin above them. So speaking of 4 Justins, 1 Sustin, Geranium, tell me about their match this week against the Coolest.
Yeah, before I hop into that, I mean, I'm just a little disappointed that Chicken, for the 4th time, has not elected to say the full name of the bottom team in Red Conference. It's disheartening to say the least. But
yeah, too bad. Yeah, unfortunately, no one cares about that team.
No, how could this happen, Max?
Anyway, 4 Justins, 1 Sustin, a tie versus the Coolest. It came in droves here with 9 Eyebrows losing his first match to CBX 1 in a Game 5 match. Wild Rose getting swept by Big Money in the 2. Infinite sweeping Bremen in the 3. Pokemon 661 sweeping Icer in the 4. Well, Icer's in the 4. And Skirt Reynolds losing in Game 5 to My Curse. This brings it to an exact tie, 12-12. Basically, the lowest point tie you can possibly have. Yep. And yeah, now because of that, we see things get just a lot closer for 4 Justins, 1 Sustin, who used to be a little bit higher in the standings here.
For sure.
Yeah, I didn't realize that 9 was the 1 seed now. He started off in the 3 seed, and Infinite started off in the 1 seed.
Oh, don't worry, Infinite's the 1 seed again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he is. He actually is the. Is he?
Oh,
yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're having.
You guys think Infinite will remember to play his match this time?
Well, he clearly remembered this week because he got a sweep.
I think
Clearly
3 out of his 4 losses this season are just from him either not showing up or bringing the wrong classes.
Oh man,
guys, this is so sad.
I'm sure he'll figure it out and get it turned around.
Wild Rose, Infinite, and 9 Eyebrows have all played matches in the 1 seed, or at least a match in the 1 seed for their team this season. That is really funny.
Yeah, this reminds me of the old Chaos Theory teams where it was Risen. It was Risen, GHP, and Isocles kind of like all playing in the 1 seed at different weeks. It was kind of crazy to keep track of. Yeah, that's Red Conference. The standings overall are pretty close. But there's most conferences, there's kind of like 5 teams, and there's 3 teams that have like an outside chance if they can put up some big weeks. So definitely have that situation in this conference. So we'll move on to Silver. Silver Conference is got a huge gap between first and second. Yeah, Owl, why don't you... I'll let Owl go through the standings of Silver Conference, because there is definitely more to talk about outside of just how dominant the Ka-Chow Clowns have been.
Yeah, so 30 points ahead of second place, we have the Ka-Chow Clowns with 124 points. And, following close behind, Illidan's Death Knight with 94. Then Dad Legend with 89. Serenite Pain Gang doing significantly better than they have in past seasons. My memory serves correct. At 83 in fourth place. Dumbledore's Army with 81. A Standard THL Degenerates with 76. And then Songs of Drunken City 66 and Explosive Sheep 60. So there is far and away a top team in this conference. But the next the next four teams are all decently close to each other.
Yeah.
So the race for playoffs is still going on. There's just one slot that's already taken care of here.
Yeah, I thought there was 2 weeks left, so I was like, oh, Clowns are locked, but they're actually not technically locked yet. If they just have another good week this week, they'll probably just lock up playoffs here.
No.
So
Clowns will
insane.
definitely go 0-5 the next few weeks, while the teams below them get 20 points every week.
Mm,
Now, I will
no,
say
they would need some points at that point.
that there is only one team in Silver Conference with a winning record.
Yes, everyone else has a even record or lower. So, yeah. Good stuff for...
Yeah, so maybe Kachow Clowns are only 6-0 because Silver is free and the other teams are bad.
Well, there was a cross conference.
Maybe.
I mean, they played at least one cross conference and won it. I don't know who it was, but yeah, I think Clowns in a good position. 20 points a week, regardless, is still insane. Like even if I look at the teams and I say that this team should be the team in first place, like it's usually not by 30 points, Oh no, I agree, Kodomura. You just play who you play, for sure. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about some matches. We've got the super close IDK versus DA versus the DA. So see, Turtle, why don't you tell me about this match?
Oh yeah, super close match here, and also lots for IDK. As we were talking, all of these teams in the middle just super close in record wise. Like these top four teams, besides obviously Kachow Clowns, all 3-3. So this is a pretty big win for Dumbledore's Army if they want to clutch it up in these last couple weeks. They really need those points. But yeah, the 1 seed JR versus Rice Bowl. Rice Bowl winning in 5 games, super close series. And then another super close series, Plants versus Vino. Plants winning in 5. So 2 just super close matches up in the 1 and 2 seeds. Then we've got Superhero versus Raptor. Superhero taking it for Dumbledore's Army. And then in the 4, we have Jespine beating Bartimus, and then Mighty Biz in the 5 beating Catbat. So the top 3 seeds taking home the win for Dumbledore's Army in a week that they pretty much needed to win if they want a chance at clawing their way back into playoffs, because they're only like a few points off that top 4 now. So really big win here.
For sure, it's kind of funny to see JR going up against 2 of his former teammates, because he's had both Plants and Rice Bowl on IDK at some point in the iterations. So that must have been kind of bittersweet to go up against them, but then unfortunately lose by 1 point. But obviously IDK with that 5-point lead above everyone else below them. So yeah.
Yeah, they certainly got enough points with 13 this week to still be comfortably in second place. So both teams doing what they needed to this week.
Agreed. All right, so we have another match to cover. A bit of a weird week in Silver Conference, but we're gonna cover Kachow Clowns versus Standard THL Degenerates. Geranium, why don't you tell me about this match?
Okay, so Kachow Clowns versus Standard THL Degenerates has 4 matches, and then Diamond lost to Electric Sheep City. This is the only thing I can focus in on Kachow Clowns, as every other thing is just a win. It's all wins except for that middle. Diamond's first loss in Legacy, I'm sorry to say. But no, I mean, Neji going up against Pigpen, Dr. Bomb had subbed out. Based Inc. against Memnarch. Diamond losing Electric Sheep City. Corden over Vampire Nighthawk. And then finally Kodomura over Saku. And of course, Of course, Saku posted in the Discord about it.
Oh yeah, no, Saku's. I mean, I obviously have tremendous respect for Saku, as a content creator, but also as a player. He's always so nice, with his opponents. But yeah, he did unfortunately take a sweep loss. No, I agree, Dabs. Saku really is like the nicest guy. For real.
I'll say it. Saku doesn't have enough haters. He needs more.
Damn chicken.
A steak
I
from
actually
chicken.
feel like that is a not base take.
Yeah, and as you can clearly see, it's I mean, it's almost just exactly based off of PR. Person with higher PR wins. So simple. Simple predictions.
Yeah, I mean, you know, even gods bleed a couple times. And Diamond taking the loss, especially someone like Sheep City, like, I don't know, I feel like that's a really well earned victory for Sheep. Hunter in playoffs last season was the downfall of the Clowns, and it seems like this week, minus Diamond, they were able to beat the players who brought Hunter. So there you go. You know, as I cringe at at the unfortunacy of our playoff exit, but let's move out of our Legacy series into Pro Series, where we can talk about Black Conference first. You know, I guess I'll have Chicken do one of these. I'll have Turtle talk about the Black Conference standings to start.
Yeah, so pretty far, 9 points ahead. We've got Brushy Tuna in first place. Then we've got For the Boys down still quite a few. So this 1 seed and 2 seed are pretty far away above the 3, which is Zyrell's Disciples, which is then again 19 points above Popeye's Spicy Chicken Sandwiches. So Black Conference just super spread out points wise. This is one of the biggest, almost twice as many points that the top team has over the bottom. So just all around conference here. And then going down to 5th, we've got Faction, and then another APM team achieving playoffs maybe. They'll need to win a lot if they want to do that prophecy. And then we've got Rotate Quest, please. And then rounding up Black Conference, we've got Taggers.
Yeah. So I will say that the race for that 4th spot is going to be close, which means achieving playoffs maybe might get there, for sure. But if they don't make it this week, might be a big indicator. Just taking a huge L and Chicken, one of the players on the other team. Tell me about For the Boys versus APM.
Yeah, I think the team's just. I think we're just hitting our stride now. I think we had a bit of a shaky start to the season, but yeah, kind of working well together. I mean, we've picked up Fudov and Rekvam, who are both, I mean, just incredible players, and also great teammates as well. But yeah, it's been great. But yeah, Fudov couldn't make it this week, so Darian stepped back in to play his match, and yeah, he got his first win of the season against Chewy, pretty close 3-2. But yeah, everyone got wins, and puts us just a little bit closer to that first seed spot. Though I don't know if we really want first seed. Depends on where some of the other teams in Pink Conference fall by the end of the season.
For sure. Well, obviously, big congrats on a huge match win for you all, and let's go ahead and move into our second match. See, Geranium, why don't you tell me about Popeye's Spicy Chicken Sandwiches versus Zorella's Disciples?
Yeah, Popeye's Spicy Chicken Sandwiches, with a little bit of a change from last season, bringing on Auto Button, who had a hot start to the season, and then now getting another win over Jessbean, who, as he said in chat, is moving down to the 4 seed in every series. Meanwhile, Zarella's Disciples bring it, just concede, unfortunately, losing in a sweep to Lambie Series. Pace this week losing to Myanodon. Just mean, as I said, losing to Automated Button. ZLS JS taking a Game 5 win over Honest Zabe. And then finally Maxibon in the 5, getting a 3-0 sweep over Mr. Beluga 11. Unfortunately, I am the biggest Mr. Beluga 11 fan in the world. And this is a hard week for me.
Unfortunately, with his record, it seems like there's been quite a few rough weeks for Mr. Beluga.
Hey.
Obviously, not all of them are sweeps. Just overall 1-5 record is not what you really want to see. But pro is very tough. That's the thing. So, if you hit a stride, like, Lambie was struggling the last couple seasons, and he's 5-1 this season. So, he's kind of turning it around. I think. It could start next week for this team. I mean, they're right there in the playoffs still, which is great. Yeah. Any other comments about Black Conference or this match before we go to our next conference?
I think Popeyes had a strategy here of banning Priest.
Yeah.
And yeah, it looks like they won the week, maybe because of that. So maybe something to think about.
Babs with a good point. Popeyes got red. Boar Priest into the Warriors. Naga Priest into the non-Warriors. They all drew bans, but unfortunately, they were able to win the week.
Oh yeah. Also, no one on Popeyes submitted Priest, so there were no.
Yeah, they also didn't submit Priest. Yeah, but for sure, good week for them. Good points still for Zarella's. But in their loss, they are still sitting in a good position to make playoffs. By a lot of points. But why don't we go to Pink Conference now and let's, go through our other NA Pro conference. Mr. Owl, why don't you go ahead and tell us about Pink Conference standings, and I'll let you stay on to talk about your match as well.
Sure thing. Yeah, so far and away in first, we've got Rope and Cope with the fabulously designed logo at 110 points. Next up is F2L with 95. Then Swagoy, Cheesemongers, and Bing Bong Big Top are all tied for third with 89 points. Then Mr. Smite Side, Pondering My Ape, and No Pros Here trailing behind. And I believe Bing Bong Big Top was in second place at the start of last week. And then, as we could see in our featured match, took a really big loss to the number one team, Rope and Cope. Yeah, going into this match, we sort of knew that this was going to be the hardest match because it's a ragtag team of people from around THL versus a team of people who regularly play in Masters Tours and one GM. So we decided, what's the best thing to do then? Submit Dreaded Mount Warlock and Quest Demon Hunter.
Yeah,
as one does.
I like looking at this lineup. Like, Denka's dad went with. I really love Denka's dad's lineups that he brings. Like, he brought like Big Spell Mage. He brought Dreaded Mount Warlock, Big Beast Hunter, and obviously and a Conjure Druid. Like, is something that it is seen quite a bit. Like, the Celestial Alignment variant is a very popular version of Druid.
Denka's dad's lineup was intended as a Boar Priest counter, because we sort of thought, oh yeah, Boar Priest's still the best deck, so we'll just bring some Boar Priest counters. And then he submitted it, and we saw, wait, there's no Boar Priest, so the rest of us abandoned the Boar Priest counter somewhat. But hey, no Boar Priest, Denka's dad still wins with the power of Dreaded Mount. And then the Quest Demon Hunter from Ariana 20 was another really, really spicy bring we brought. Shout out to Lol Nenko, the Battlegrounds player.
Oh yeah, Nenko.
For helping me test Quest DH. The deck is really bad, but it consistently kills roughly turn 6. So against Boar Priest, which consistently gets sword, turn 7 or 8, turns out that's really good.
For
But
sure.
yeah, overall in this match, Damon was the only player to lose, and even then he lost 2-3 to Nejibot.
For sure. All right. So that is our match 1. Obviously, big ups for Open Coat for taking a decent sized win over a former champion, a team of former champions of the Pro Series. So for sure, y'all just keep it up, keep winning.
That's the plan.
Definitely. So we'll have our next match, which is F2L versus No Pros here, Chicken. Actually, no, I'll have Geranium do this one. Geranium hasn't talked for a while. So F2L versus NPH. Mr. Geranium, tell me about this match.
Okay. So F2L, 13-11 win over No Pros here. Marty B staying up at the top with 3-2 win over X Kume. Agent Pee-wee sweeping Ree Bobson. Itachi losing game 4 to Aquaman 575. Glee sweeping QAZ, and finally Berserk taking the 3-1 win over your Mumked. You can see the F2L players have sort of clawed their way back after DQing, unfortunately, right at the beginning of the season. Just they've been playing really strong recently. And here we see in the classes here, some people submitted DH and they lost. Weird.
Yeah.
They should have brought Quest DH.
Well, I mean, we saw Bing Bong bring Fel DH. I think like 4 of them brought it the prior week to this one, and they got quite a lot of wins. So I feel like Fel definitely has some possibilities. It has some weird It's just kind of a weird matchup, like a weird set of matchups essentially. But I might be wrong.
Weird in that most of them are bad.
There we go. So it's good against maybe very specific things, and then that's it. But there are, I mean, that's Warriors. Besides Charge Warrior, that's like Warriors' whole gimmick. Charge Warrior's just kind of weird.
Stats for this match: if you submitted a class that has Hunter in its name, you lose. End of story.
Yeah, but if you look at Dank's dad won with it.
No. F12 versus No Pros here is the only results.
Oh, true, yeah. Only results. But, anyways. Moving on, we have one more series to go through. And then, don't worry, I haven't been doing them as the series go on, but we're going to save all of our rigs for the end of the stream. We'll just quickly run through the player power rankings after we go through EU Pro. So, for EU Pro, Chicken, why don't you tell me about the standings?
Yeah, so at the top of EU Pro, we have League of Nations still at the top at 94 points. And then in second, we have Donkey Hot. In third, we have F12 Violet. In fourth, with 78 points, tied for 78 points, we have Undivided and Pan and Cooks. At 76 points, we have Flowins Esports. At 63 points, we have Pertinax. Then Team Enigma with 58. And Underdogs, really under every other team in the standings at 48 points.
Yeah. All right. So, Turtle, why don't you tell us about this first match? We have Pan and Cooks versus Flowins Esports.
Yeah, before this week, Flowins was above Pan and Kooks in the standings, but this week just absolutely dominant. We see Pan and Kooks just take it, winning every single match except their 4-seed match. And looking at Pan and Kooks, it looks like they went in planning this match and all just brought essentially the same things. Like, they all brought Nagamage, all brought Charge Warrior, and then like 4 of them brought Pirate Rogue, then the rest brought Burn Shaman or Control Paladin, just like super similar classes for Pan and Cooks here. Just they were all on the same page, and it really paid off for them, getting a huge win this week. when they really needed it. Now tying them up for 4th place in Blue Conference.
Yeah, the Pirate Rogue brings quite interesting. Don't see a lot of Pirate Rogue.
We don't, but it seems to be performing pretty well. I know we've seen it sweep at least once on stream this week, so certainly not the worst spring to THL.
For sure. All right. So, go on to our second match. We have Team Enigma versus Pertinax and Owl. Why don't you tell me about this match?
Yes, this was a really, really close match between two teams that are sort of near the bottom of the standings, but still have a chance of making it in because of how close a lot of the lower teams are. But Team Enigma up against Pertinax, and in the 1 seed, I believe Gay Pirate was a player of the week. And also, Team Enigma seems to really hate Naga Mage, which is interesting because I feel like a lot of these lineups have decks that beat Naga Mage, but hey, it won them the week, so I'm not going to argue with it. But yeah, a lot of Priest brings from Pertinax, a lot of Shaman, including that Doomhammer Shaman from Gay Pirate that was mentioned earlier. But yeah, overall, there's definitely some pro teams that have very similar submissions across the team. These seem to be a little more varied, other than the Naga Mages.
Yeah. Also to note, no charge war. There's like 6 warrior brings, but none of them were charge warrior. There's 5 controls and 1 pirate warrior. Charge warrior seems to be a pretty popular deck. I would guess in NA Pro. I haven't been keeping super good track of it, but charge warrior seems to be a deck a lot of people are keen on. So yeah, that is all of the matches we have for this week. So I forgot to give everyone the list of things, but let me go ahead and copy.
I love lists of things.
I love lists of
So
things.
if y'all have, I'm not sure if y'all are using Stream or not, but that's how you're gonna have to do PPR. So for Hero, I'll start with the series we started with, which is Hero series. So why don't we start with our honorable mentions? Geranium Battle. Why don't you read through our honorable mentions for the Hero series PPR?
Okay, in 15th, we have Seth for Christ with a 4-2 record, 15-9 game score. Right above him, Ridiculous Hat with 2 fewer wins this season, 4-2. Ron Mexico right above him, 16-12 game score. Yachtster above him with a 4-1 match record, a 12-8 game score. Above them at 11th is Vampire Nighthawk. Vampire Hawk, with a 4-2 match record and 15-12 game score. 1 fewer game wins than Ron Mexico AO.
Yeah. So with the new system, I a lot of this I still don't 100% know how it works, but I know that it works pretty well. And it's definitely a pretty good system, even though we see some things look kind of wonky. But yeah, let's see. Turtle, why don't you go ahead and read through the top 10 for our for our Hero PPR?
Sure. So coming in at number 10, we've got Pokemon at 5-1, then Nomad Farmer 4-2, Wild 9 at 5-1, Wayfair at 5-1, Dr. Bomb D 5-1, Neji Boston 5-1, Jespine 5-1, Nails 5-1, You Kitten Me 5-1, and then our only 6-0 player in Hero right now, A2 Battleship, coming in at the highest PPR for our Hero series.
Well, awesome, Inc. Obviously, congrats to all these players for making the PPR for Hero series. and keep winning if you want to keep on the list. Um, for sure, that obviously applies to all of these. So we're gonna go ahead and move into Legacy now. I love that I got to do a lot of color coordination this week. So for Legacy series, Owl, why don't you go ahead and read our honorable mentions?
Sure. In 15th place, we have BOC for Life at 5-1. In 14th place, we have Neji Boston at 4-2. 13th place, Totina's Pizza, 4-2. 12th place, Lotus Knight, 5-1. 11th place, Diamond at 5-1. In 10th, Laughing Frog, also 5-1. In 9th, Skittles at 4-2, making it above a couple of 5-1 players. In 8th, Corridon, 5-1. In 7th, Cheesy at 5-1. In 6th, Yo Daddy at 5-1. In 5th, Big Money at 5-1. In 4th, my favorite canine in all of THL.
Yeah.
It's German Shep, 6-0, 18-6 game score. In 3rd place, Kodamora, also 6-0 with an 18-6 game score. In 2nd place, Nails, 6-0, 18-4 game score. And in 1st place, Roadrunner, 6-0, 18-9 game score.
Yeah.
Big congrats to Roadrunner.
Yeah.
Making it in.
Congrats to the person that I will hopefully win against after this stream,
Yes.
because I'm playing him in Legacy.
Yeah, the soon to be 6-1 Roadrunner.
Hopefully, yeah. All right, we've got one series left. Unfortunately, I don't have a specific scene for EU Pro PPR. But if anybody wants it, they can go ahead and DM me, and I can send it to you, I guess. So yeah, so we have our Pro PPR and Chicken. Why don't you go ahead and similarly to Owl, just read through all of it. Start with the 8 gems and go from there.
Yeah, in our honorable mentions, we have Rami at 4-2. I believe, is that Silo?
It's Silo, yeah.
Okay, yeah, at 4-2. Xkume at 3-3. Nails at 4-2. And Heatshock at 4-2. Then in our top 10, we have Karate Dom at 4-2. Just Concede at 4-2. Not Bambity at 4-1. Then we have Marty B at 5-1. Lambie Series at 5-1. McBanterface at 6-0. Then German Shep at 5-1. No Way H at 5-1. Dankest Dad at 6-0. And Ron Mexico at the top at 6-0 as well.
Yeah. Awesome to see Ron having such a good pro series, as well as Dankest Dad. And you can kind of see, like, you got 2 players from Brushy Tuna in the top 5 and 2 players from Rope and Cope in the top 5. That's definitely a good reason why these teams. Yeah, for sure. 2 of the top 3 Rope and Cope members, indeed. So yeah, I'm sure Owl's very happy to see his players up there, as they are performing very well.
I'd be happier if Dankest Dad was in his rightful spot as the number 1 player in all of THL.
Well, let's see. I have the difference between them in the point. In, like, they have very specific numbers behind them. I just have to find where they are. So for NA Pro, Ron has 8.4 on the PAR, and Dankest Data is 7.94. So they are only 0.5 ahead. And then the drop to No Way is massive. No Way's at 6.53. And Dankest Dad and Ron Mexico are at 8. So those 2 are performing significantly better.
Okay, it's a pretty big rip for Dankest Dad, because he has to take a break from
Yes.
THL for a few weeks to move cross country.
Mhm.
So
I mean, yeah,
he was
no,
hoping,
like,
he was hoping that Ron Mexico moves down for him.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Okay.
for sure. But I feel like at that point, then somebody like,
Guys,
there's other
do
people.
we think Ron Mexico would still be 6-0 if he had to play decks like Highlander Rogue?
Well,
and
I mean, those are Dankus.
Dreaded
I mean,
Mount
those are
Warlock?
Dankus' dad's own choices for decks, and he's the type of player who's really good at playing those types of. He can really do work with those decks for sure. Obviously, I think Ron. Ron's obviously playing what he's good at. He's getting the wins, obviously. So yeah, I mean, if he had to do them, he might not perform as well because he wouldn't be super familiar. But
You heard it here first. Dankus dad is the most talented player in Pro Series.
I don't know for sure. Obviously, we have names like McBannerface there too. Former GM, top 4 Worlds player, McBannerface. I think that there's a lot of excellent players. Yeah, I think his dad is one of my favorite people in THL in general. So huge congrats to obviously everybody who made the PPR for this week. So yeah, that's all we got for the show for this week. I'm gonna bring us back to the main screen. I will go ahead. We'll have the players of the week just sitting up there. So I'll let you guys give your. I'll start with Chicken. Any final words before I close the show?
Yeah, no, it was a fun show. I'm glad got to come back to a good one with some guests that I don't always get to share the show with. So yeah, it was fun.
Awesome. Uranium Battle. Any final words?
Yeah, I mean, I've been gone for a little bit, and it's good to be back.
It's great to have you back. Turtle. Final words for the evening.
Yeah, thanks for having me guys on. It's always fun talking about Hearthstone.
That it is indeed. And Mr. Owl, looks like you are the final guest to have words. Anything you say to our audience?
Yeah, it was fun being on. It's nice to be on and be able to see all of my teams doing well. Well, all the teams I play on. We don't talk about Legacy.
Yeah, we don't talk about that team. No.
Yeah, and a cast of great people to be with, and also Turtle.
So true.
Oh, damn. All right. Well, I want to thank all the people who are in the audience for hanging out with us. It's always great to see everyone. I don't know who's going to be hosting next week exactly. I think it might be Lotus for this next week, but there's going to be a different cast of hosts for the last couple of weeks, with Lotus being away for a little bit. But I want to thank everybody for coming on, and just thank THL for being awesome. And we will be back with Wild and Out on Thursday evening to recap all of Wild from last week. So
yeah, I heard there's a pretty exciting standard team in Wild.
Oh, there
is.
Yes.
Everyone really enjoys.
Not like I personally am enjoying that your team is doing well. So
guys, I pulled up the Wild leaderboard on Donkey.
Yeah.
Wait, who is this bread fellow?
Anyways,
is this what they were referring to?
Yeah. But for sure, we'll be bringing you that on Wednesday night. So thanks everyone for watching, and we will see you then.